Hello and welcome everyone to Anfield Index. It's another Newsround episode, and I am joined by a Frankfurt fan, Brian, from the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt Podcast. How are we, bud? Hope you're well.
You know what? For someone who's got a kid, a wife, is living through this Trump era of Americana in the middle of the United States of America, I'm doing okay, considering all those sort of elements, which, if you guys ever want to come out our ways, well, if you ever get stuck out in Kansas City, where I live, the home of one of the best teams in the world, the NFL team, the Kansas City Chiefs, just let me know. We'll have a beer. We'll chat about football. It does not matter whether it's Eintracht or Liverpool or whatever team you want to talk about.
Oh, good, mate. So firstly, obviously the structure of today's episode as well, Reds, or any Frankfurt fans as well listening or watching tonight. Obviously, introduction, background as well. We'll be getting Brian's analysis really in regards technical profile as well. And then the back end of today's episode, we'll be looking at the stylistic point of view. We'll get Brian's insight in regards to if he could fit into Liverpool as well. But firstly, Brian, in regards to obviously the Frankfurt fans, obviously in Germany, did finish third last season, the second time you have finished in the Champions League in the club's history, which is absolutely massive, considering obviously you're not one of the, obviously you're a big club, but in terms of the recognised big German European giants as well. Brian, what was your first analysis really in regards to when you did bring Hugo Ekitike over from Paris Saint-Germain? What was the reaction to the fan base from your point of view?
Well, it's kind of twofold. So if you may remember, we had Randall Colomboani, who moved from Eintracht Frankfurt for a stupid amount of money, almost all in a lump sum, which was, hey, you get a player paid off in a lump sum, you're just like, thank you, I'll take this dump truck we're filled up to the brim and dump it in our Scrooge McDuck looking piggy bank. But the thing was, we tried to make the move for Hugo Ekitike that moment in time. We just weren't able to get it over the line. So we kind of struggled during the 23-24 season on the fall half, or the Hinrunde, as it is referred to in Germany. So we kind of struggled around with this interesting striker up top called Omar Marmoush during that fall, who we picked up on a free transfer, I might add. Lovely bit of business on that, as it has been retrospectively. So we picked him up in January on loan with not an obligation to buy. We did have a buy clause that was close to the realms of 20 million. The buy clause did have an additional clause of if we do sell him, there's a 20% sell on clause there. So we knew immediately that he would be a very good asset for the Eintracht. It just took him a long time to get going. So in the spring half, or the Rückrunde as it's referred to, because we kind of use it split up Hinrunde, Rückrunde, and a winter Pause or winter break to kind of break things up. The Hugo Ekitike, about in March of the spring season, you started seeing him come into form, and that's when the Eintracht board decided, all right, first chance we get, we're going to pull the trigger, make him a permanent signing. He had a full preseason to work with Omar Marmoush, and he honestly, they were just like yin and yang. He was able to play off of Marmoush, and Marmoush off of him. The amount of goals that were total scored was fantastic, and Omar Marmoush, shorter guy, kind of like myself, under 6 foot tall, but very flexible, very fast. I ain't got the legs anymore myself. Okay. But Hugo Ekitike got legs, got height. Is he the biggest man? Is he Sebastian Aller, who was just a big old lump we'd put up top? No, but he can, if called upon, he can go up against the biggest center backs that the Premier League does have, and there's some real bruisers that can. I mean, we're not talking Billy Bremner types here, but there's some big guys who would usually try and kick him, and he'd usually just use his technical skills to get around those guys. And from the air, both feet really good, extremely good technical abilities, can, like on a dime, take a long cross and stop it on his foot. And just absolutely dead ball stop. And you're thinking at times, like, we're talking Maradona or Juan Riquelme, like technical abilities at being able to, from a dead ball standpoint, be able to move. His vision needs to be improved, I will admit. But
still young
his
player
age
as well.
at 23, unlike Isaac, who is a little bit older, you have a lot more runway to go with the player. And I think one of the more respected French journalists, Julien Laurence, has looked at him as a player for the future of the France side. And he's also a player who, when he was asked preseason for Eintracht, what do you expect from the season? And he said, I expect this to be my best personal year yet. And it turned out to be the 24-25 season really was his best personal year. He became the main man once Omar Marmoush was signed by Manchester City, your rival within the league. We'll see for how much longer once those court rulings are done. And he took it in his stride, adapting the team to focusing him as the upfront guy. He's got good speed. He's got sweet 2 feet. You could not ask for a better player to have been in the Bundesliga. It's just a shame that it very much looks like someone from that aisle that you reside on is going to be picking him up before the 25-26 season kicks it all here in Germany.
Yeah, he's, as you allude to, obviously Frankfurt have had like a very good selling period over the last 5-6 years. Obviously, Luka Jovic obviously did move to Real Madrid as well. Sebastian Halle sold him for quite a pretty penny as well, really, and certainly, obviously, you'll be disappointed, but it's as a fan, but it's the cycle of football, as we know, mate. And and as you said, obviously, brought in Marmoush on a free, so the technical and the scouting department of Frankfurt are doing something really well, and it wouldn't be a miss, really, if the deal does go over the line in the next couple of months or a couple of weeks or whatever, with Ekitike to come to Liverpool. You might have a certain other player potentially up your sleeve as well. So, so I never know. So in terms of just, you've more or less touched, I was going to ask you really, obviously, well, I think you've more or less touched over that, mate, in terms of obviously his style of play, in terms of, obviously, you've described how his playing style as well. And just mainly in regards to, obviously, how did you feel and how, as a Frankfurt fan, how has he settled in and off the pitch in terms of the language, the attitude, and his relationships with his fellow teammates as well for you?
So we actually already had a couple of French players on the team. He speaks decently enough English, so in turn, I mean, he might find the local Liverpool dialect a little difficult to understand, but I mean, you tell me, you tell me that a Geordie is able to come down to Merseyside and be able to understand the local dialect himself. It's the same sort of adaptation. He was able to adapt to the Frankfurt lifestyle. If you compare Frankfurt to the rest of the cities within Germany, it's a very different sort of city. It's got that London banking, like, hey, all big money, glitz and glam that comes with it. It's also got a pretty dark underbelly side that seems a little bit more Birmingham than, say a Munich or say a Berlin. It's got a pretty hard inside. Not to say that Berlin doesn't have a hard inside, because remember, it used to be split in half years and years ago. But he adapted to the local Frankfurt everything really well, and it helped. His knowledge of multiple languages really allowed him to kind of kick in pretty easily with the players. But the locker room that Frankfurt has been able to cultivate over the last 6-7 years has really been good to allow for most players to come in and hit the ground running. There's been a few swings and misses that the Eintracht has had in terms of player recruitment, but let's put it this way. The way things were 1 decade ago when I was a fan and just pulling out my hair, I got a decent amount still left, but the kind of team that Eintracht was a decade ago compared to what we are now, and the way that we're recruiting smartly, it's the difference between a Liverpool recruitment season and an Everton recruitment season. Let's just put it that way, without getting into the tribalism all too much.
Yeah, no, it's all good. That's what football's all about as well, mate. And you'll know perfectly well as well.
Trust me, we get into our own tribalism here in Germany. I mean, sure, I'm looking in the United States, but we have our own little kind of rivalries. And honestly, when it comes down to us getting super angry, all we love to do is just kick the living crap out of Bayern Munich, which we have done twice in the last 4 seasons, 5-1. So anyone around Europe, if you guys can do that, you'll catch up with us.
So there we go. Yeah, it's Bayern against the whole of the Bundesliga, as a lot of teams, and certainly RB Leipzig as well.
One of the funnier chants, and I gotta share this with you guys. One of the funnier chants in German that they have is when you're beating Bayern and beating them good is "Sieht dem Bayern der Lederhosen aus." Because back in the day, in the 70s and 80s, they would have the Bayern team travel in lederhosen. Goofy little gimmick. So the idea was that if you're beating the pants off of Bayern, or just really thoroughly beating them, you would start making that chant, which is basically to say, take Bayern's pants off, meaning that you're really hammering it to them. And so it's a well-known expected chant in Frankfurt that when you play Bayern, you're going to beat them, and then you're going to chant that chant, and everyone from Dortmund fans to Schalke fans, they all love to hear it because it's just like, we beat Bayern. It's kind of like that clip that he's like, I haven't seen any of the results, but I heard that Bayern lost, and he just laughs hysterically.
Yeah, there we go, Reds. So the German-speaking Reds out there as well, let us know. You have to fill us all in with that as well, Reds, in the comment section below. In terms of obviously adapting, obviously, to in the Bundesliga's technical profile as well, in terms of how effective is he in terms of the central striker, in terms of drifting off that left-hand flank as well? I think when you look at his heat map and style of play, and obviously he tends to sometimes drift quite heavily down the left-hand channel. Has he played in a two-striker system for Frankfurt, or how's he been set up for Hugo since he's moved from France?
Sometimes he would be playing with just a two-striker setup with Omar Marmoush during the fall. That was kind of how Omar Marmoush just suddenly thrived. And Hugo was able to get multiple goals and multiple assists during that time as well. He's able to play in a kind of three-striker format setup. So if you guys are thinking of, Sadio Mane Mark II, you're not going to be too far off that right there. He does play well with another striker up there. Now, if you were thinking that he was going to play with Salah, I think that would be a horrible idea. If you partner him up with who's this Uruguayan?
Nunez. Obviously, play.
If you play him with that big old lump like him, I mean, I saw him at the Copa America here in the United States, here in my own city, Kansas City, and I thought, goodness gracious, that's a big man. And he was just training on the sideline because he wasn't going to be playing because they'd already gone into the knockout phase qualification. But, him with the big man, it works great because he's able to kind of run around from the left to the right. He can play up and hold off the ball pretty good. He's not a big old school, old fashioned target man sort of fella. But let's put it this way. If you had teamed him up with, say, an Ian Rush, you guys would be scoring goals for fun and then winning all the English titles that there are to win. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say, obviously we'd be predominantly playing through the middle, obviously. It'd be interesting. It's a new dynamic as well. Obviously, you just seeing out Liverpool have signed Florian Wirtz.
Yes, he's good. You will like him a lot. That is why Leverkusen ended the Bayern Munich reign, is because that guy was so flipping good. And the thing was, they pushed Kai Havertz out to put Wirtz in because they knew what they had there. Yeah, I know. Trust me, like Havertz to Wirtz is kind of dumb luck. Yeah. When you have one supplanted by the other, you're just kind of like, okay.
So there we go, Reds. In terms of, I think you might have slightly touched on it, mate, but I think a lot of Liverpool fans will be very intrigued in terms of, as you said, the link-up play with Salah and the technical qualities of a potential Liverpool forward. How would you rate his technical touch and close control in the tight spaces? Because especially when you play for Liverpool, obviously, predominantly on the front foot, you want to create those counter-attacking opportunities. how would you rate it? And has he got that ability to adapt? And as we said at the top of the show, he's quite young anyway, so he's 23 years old, so he's got plenty of time to develop. Can for you, from all the games you've watched of him, improve in that area of his game for you?
He's very malleable. He's able to work with kind of if you need to switch up systems. And Eintracht usually would stick to the same sort of setup on a match in, match out basis. But he has shown us the ability to be stuck in tight spaces and be able to get just the tiny sliver of a chance and create a goal. And he did score quite a few of those. I mean, look at the goal that he scored against Tottenham in the quarterfinal of the Europa League. It's a perfect example of him like having just like, a split second to be able to pull off a shot, when you're being stretched out wide or just in tight spaces alone. He's going to be a guy that if you do sign him, the Liverpool faithful will thoroughly enjoy him. His work ethic could be improved, but he's kind of that player that has that luxury style about him that every club does need one of those guys that are just going to get you like off your, get your bums off the seats.
Yeah.
I mean, the cop is known for having those fellas and ladies, can't forget them, to stand up at any and all times, but he is the kind of player that will just make you go, oh, when he does have his moments of brilliance. And I'm not going to lie, if you guys do take him, I will miss him. But at the same time, Eintracht has been known to move on to the next guy. And we already have lined up our replacement for him. He's already been signed, sealed, and delivered. He just happens to be a local guy, which is even better. I mean, you always want to.
Who's coming in?
Burkhardt, who has come in from Mainz, who is about 20 minutes downriver from Frankfurt. He's been acquired from there. Who, let's put it this way, whenever we have a local guy, they seem to always thrive. And I mean, I'm not expecting him to exactly wear the captain's armband within the next year, but the last local guy did, and we love that guy to bits.
So there we go, Reds. Interesting as well. As Brian said, I think we are very excited. I think for a lot of money as well, but I think the ability to just score goals, it's so integral for not just Frankfurt, for Liverpool, for every European top side as well. Just finally, in terms of describing obviously his technical profile and strengths as well, Brian, in regards to obviously, you alluded to obviously he's improved. Has he improved any weaknesses since arriving in Germany, like decision making and defensive work rate, or physically as well? We know the Premier League is an extremely physical league, one of the most physical in European football as well. In terms of any weaknesses that he's improved from your analysis?
I would say the most important thing is he's bulked up. He used to be just this willow of a player who you thought, you know what, you're going to snap over someone's leg and then we're just going to see pieces just lying on the floor. But you know what? He's bulked up. He can bulk up more. Like you said, the EPL is a very physically demanding league. You guys also play a fair few more matches than in the Bundesliga. Our season is just because of a 18-team league. We only have 34 matches in the season, so it's going to be a lot more kind of wear and tear. I do believe that he needs to be in the weight room with all of his fellows, and I think you will see the kind of work rate come out that he will be able to rise to the challenge. I believe one of the reasons why he failed at Paris and then succeeded at Frankfurt is because, they're just, whilst the French league is demanding, you're at a club that you don't have those kind of heavy duty demands because you're always got them on the back foot. And I think that the physical demands, while still being Liverpool is a club that definitely will be imposing itself on the majority of the opposition within the league on a match in, match out basis. I think he will be able to rise to the challenge, and you'll see from one year to the next steady, good upwards trajectory development that you guys will thoroughly enjoy from your player. And that's one, should you guys pull the trigger, you will get with Hugo Ekitike. And if you do pull the trigger, well, we've got about 4 other transfers that we would like to line up to complete out our team, because this is only the second time we're in the Champions League in the current era. We finished this high ish before, but it was before the Champions League was really kicking on. It was when it was the old European Cup at the time, and so we had to play in the Europa League, the UEFA Cup, now the Europa League. But hey, we've got 2 wins in that. So in 1980 and 2022, so we're not too bad. We just wished we would have beaten Tottenham to have gotten that 3rd, so that they would not be singing.
Yeah, well, Tottenham winning European trophies, it seems to be
I'm sorry
a phenomenon.
We didn't beat them, but golly, if you watched back through those 180 minutes, that was some of the ugliest stuff that we had played all season. And then the final. Look, I mean, I'm gonna invoke my wife's favorite term whenever she thinks something is gross, and she's from the UK. Boke.
Yeah, gross, or like, I suppose at least we don't watch Manchester United week in, week out anyway, do we? So yeah, that's
you only have to stomach them twice a season, and maybe once in the cup.
Well,
that's if they progress.
Yeah, if they do, right. So finally, obviously going into the back end of the section of the show as well, Brian and Reds, I think a lot of Liverpool fans will be very interested in terms of how he adapts if he is to get that deal over the line and become a Liverpool player as well. In your analysis and from what you've seen as well, if he was to sign and were to join the Premier League side in Liverpool as well, what would you say his strengths would be to bring that might potentially suit an Arne Slot philosophy or style of play, really, in your opinion? Like,
his technical flexibility, his speed, his size, he's got all the attributes that are necessary to be successful with Arne Slot, who I still don't understand how you guys won the Premier League season, considering he basically played with the same deck of cards as Klopp did, and look at the different results that he picked up. He's a fellow that if you do bring him on to Liverpool, give him just a little bit of leash, and he'll do good for you. That is sometimes, I think, one of the difficulties Bundesliga players getting over to England is that sometimes they're expected to do so much so fast. I will give a perfect example of a former Eintracht player who did not succeed when he went to England, but I blame it on the club who signed him. West Ham United signed Sebastian Aller, and they played him totally without any support whatsoever, whilst he had Ante Rebic, he had Luka Jovic, and the 3 of those, what we call the Buffalo herd, were able to take us all the way to the semifinals of the Europa League, and what was it? I think it was 6th place in the league that season. We just kind of ran out of gas. That plus certain goalkeeper could not stop saving penalty kicks, but and that's why we didn't play Arsenal in the 2019 Europa League final that season. But that if you give him enough leash in the amount of the assets to develop, he can become anything and everything that you guys are wanting from a striker who can present you with tactical flexibility to be able to win in any of the competitions that Liverpool will be in. And yes, I do think that you sign him and give him enough leash, you'll see probably in the springtime that, oh, wow, we got through 2 rounds of the FA Cup. Literally because of Ekitike. We got through the quarterfinals and semifinals of the League Cup on Ekitike, and you're in running for a domestic treble, because let's be real, the Community Shield don't count, and be still in running for a European Championship to lift, I don't know, your 6th, 7th, 8th big-eared trophy from the European standards.
Yeah, it's exciting, mate. Exciting. I think the one, I mean, I think every Liverpool fan, I think the one aspect, obviously, he's only done 1 season in the Bundesliga. Obviously, he has been at Paris Saint-Germain. That's been one kind of critique of Paris fans when he was in the league. Obviously, I think he only registered less than 10 goals in that season. But I suppose there's been many players pre this year and the Luis Enrique era. Anyway, I think he's a revelation with, look, just what he's done. Obviously, Dembele playing in that position as well, mate. But in terms of for Liverpool fans, I think if he was to come to Liverpool, the big game mentality, it's massive, not just for Liverpool fans, probably similar view for any player that plays for a very well-respected club as well. and clutch moments for him. Has he still got that ability to develop that big game mentality for you if he is to come to Liverpool with the pressure on his shoulders, as we've seen already? We mentioned tonight, obviously it's been disappointing, if I'm being honest and saying, for a lot of Liverpool fans, of Núñez coming in, scored a lot of goals in Portugal. Do you think he's got that ability to bang straight away? And like, as you said, the adaptation, do you think he could be the man to lead Liverpool to potential, as you allude to, big E is number 6 and potentially a record number 21 this season for you?
I do think that if you guys decide to pick up on Ekitike, the flexibility that he will give you over the different coaching styles that he would be under on his slot, whoever comes after on his slot, he's the kind of guy that you sign knowing that, hey, this is going to be a guy rocking the cop for multiple seasons to come, because he'll give you moments of ecstasy from goals to being that guy who pinpoints the perfect pass, just behind him that opens up a wonderful long-range shot from another teammate. He's got goals in him. He's got assists in him. He's got a pretty good vision. Can it all be improved? Yes, but hey, you know what? Rome wasn't built in a day, and don't get too angry at his time that he didn't succeed at PSG. PSG spat out Mbappe, for goodness sakes, and look at what a special player he is, despite his detractions.
Yeah, obviously we're seeing, Salah was at Chelsea, De Bruyne was at Chelsea. There's probably numerous other names as well. Yeah, you spot
all
on,
at
mate.
Chelsea.
Well, I think Musiala was at Chelsea as well in his younger years. So they've had a lot. That's just on Chelsea as well. But yeah, Todd Bowley playing his fantastic 5-7-9 formations or whatever he wants to play as well. So,
but hey, they lifted the Club World Cup, so they can claim that on all of us. Oh, whatever. At the end of the day, you guys are still reigning English champions. So how far are they from catching up with you guys? Yeah, just rub that in their faces.
Yeah, so 100%, mate. Just a final couple of questions as well, maybe before we wrap up as well. In terms of obviously the general mood with Frankfurt at the minute, I think you alluded to in regards to obviously, like saying Newcastle fans, they're not best you pleased with the potential of losing Isaac. What's the mood in and around Eintracht at the moment in terms of, is Isaac seen as a long-term project or someone that might cash in on? Really, not happy. I don't like Liverpool. You never, any football fan, you're not happy seeing a big player leave your football club. But are you content with the next stage of the Frankfurt project developing even more for you?
For me as a fan, I always knew that he was a 1.5 to 2.5 season player. I always knew that he was going to move on. And I wish that we could hold him on for another season, but everything points to one team from England picking him off, and I'm okay with that, because you got to keep the big wheel turning. Is the club in a great financial position compared to many other German clubs? Yes. 1 decade ago, we were finishing in 16th place in the relegation playoff against FC Nuremberg, one of the bigger clubs within Germany, and we barely sneaked through. And then we had 2 subsequent seasons of finishing in our local FA Cup, the DFB Pokal final. We were so much of a mixed bag of a club, despite our huge fan base, that we have not taken any player leaving as a great insult. And so he's moving on. He's not a local guy either. We're happy to have enjoyed the ride with him, and he endeared himself to the fans to the point that are like, hey, we wish you nothing but the best of luck. And we've already got the next guy lined up. We're ready and loaded to take on the Bundesliga. We hope for another top 4 finish, because they don't exactly come all too often. We're just hoping that, Dortmund poops their pants again. Leverkusen doesn't finish on top, because I could go on and on about how much Leverkusen bugs the heck out of us. It's kind of like their ownership is kind of like how Manchester City's ownership irks the traditional English clubs. You're like, oh, you just got inflated with illegal monies, and I'm going to get in trouble by
it's
going
too
much further. But we're looking forward to this season, and I really hope. And we're actually about to go on a tour of the USA. We have two matches in Louisville, Kentucky, one against Astonville, one against the local side there, and then we play in Philadelphia, and then it's right smack bad into the Bundesliga season, which is one of the things, and I really tell people this all the time. One of the great things about the DFB Pokal is the first round is held 1 week prior to the kickoff of the Bundesliga. So all the Bundesliga teams get to really roll out their starting teams, and you get to play all at lower level, third, fourth, fifth tier teams, give them their moment of, hey, Bayern plays in this tiny ramshackle 9,000 seater. It'd be like Liverpool going to, I don't know, like Exeter City, or like maybe not Plymouth Argyle, or Carlisle United. Someone very tiny trip where Liverpool fans invade the city for one day, and everyone has a brilliant Saturday or Sunday, middle of the day, right as the summer is ending, day out. And I can't look forward to the next Eintracht Frankfurt season more. And if Hugo does leave, you know what? Good luck to him. I'm sure you guys will treat him well.
Yeah,
just make sure that the check clears.
Yeah, I'm sure. We're not like Chelsea where we have to sell hotels and all that. So it's all
exactly.
And so the Chelsea fans watching, but unlucky. We battered you today on today's pod anyway. Any Chelsea fans. But yeah, as a quick note, I'm an avid watcher of the Bundesliga. I think a lot of Reds are as well. And Dortmund's
it's fun. It's fun.
It's very
you could be getting your butt whooped, and yet the ultras, the hardcore section, will be still chanting, still cheering.
Really
you got the flags waving, and you know what? It's fun to be able to say at halftime, I can bring my beer actually into the stadium rather than have to drink it outside.
Special league as well, and I think obviously the fan ownership as well in terms of the structure of the German sides really pivotal as well. But Brian, obviously you host a podcast with you and a couple of your other colleagues as well. Please do shout out where everyone can find you, please, mate, and head over and make sure you do head over to Reds and get all the insights on Ekitike as well.
Right. So, Hey Eintracht Frankfurt is the name of the podcast. It's the only English language podcast devoted to covering Eintracht Frankfurt. We also cover the Eintracht Frankfurt women, where there's actually multiple ladies still involved in the Women's European Championships. If anyone is not watching it, goodness me, England got really close in that one on penalties. So you get to enjoy it for one more round. So let's see what the ladies game can bring. But yeah, Hey Eintracht Frankfurt on X, formerly known as Twitter. We're also on Blue Sky, Instagram. Just look up Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. You'll find us there, and you'll be able to follow us on our podcast feed there. We've been going since I started this in the spring of 2017, just by myself, talking to a little can of a microphone, and now we got multiple members across the United States involved. We've got a fellow in Germany involved. We're going to be going on tour, following the team through their American tour that they're going to be on. And it's a wonderful club to follow. It's an easy club to get to. Fun fact: the stadium is like 5 minutes on the S-Bahn or the tube away from the airport itself. So in theory, you could fly into Frankfurt like on a Saturday. The match is in the Saturday afternoon. Fly into Frankfurt in the morning, go from the airport to the stadium, have a beer. If you want to have a funny cigarette, those are perfectly allowed around the stadium as well. And then you go to the match, and if you really wanted to, go right home immediately. Be able to in and out all on the same day. What kind of trip is that? That's easier than having to go from, like, I don't know, Liverpool down to Kent and then back. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The logistics around the UK. It's not the podcast for that anyway. But yeah, it take a while, even going to Wales or whatnot from Liverpool. But Reds and Brian, most importantly. So as we said, Reds, you haven't already done so, head over, subscribe to obviously Frankfurt, and I think if Ekitike does arrive in the next week or a couple of weeks as well to Liverpool, we'll look after them, Brian, and certainly, hopefully, he bangs a lot of goals. And I know you and a lot of Frankfurt fans will be watching him with with a good eye and wishing him well as well. But for this afternoon, this evening as well, Reds and Brian, massive thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode. I've been Jack McIndoe, and that has been Brian from the Eintracht Frankfurt podcast as well. But for now, Reds, look after yourself, hit that subscribe button down below, and drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed today's episode. But for now, Reds, never walk alone. It's been Anfield Index.